Absolutely. Yeah, I think, give the context, right. I think I've been working on ecosystem building in the last almost 10 years. I was early in Ethereum burden and in early investor with Polkadot. And if we talk about smart contract platform, Ethereum is still the number one, right? In the early days, putting aside Bitcoin never had this programmability talk until like recently after Taproot asset operation and ordinals, right? Polkadot was very exciting because of the interoperability solution. That was the number one, especially on this, substrate kind of framework, which is a great abstraction model. And in 2021, I was working Polygon. That was the number one Ethereum L2s with over 20,000 projects built on top of them. All-time high, they had 16 million transactions per day. And obviously that was last cycle, right? With the GameFi, metaverse, all these kind of new use cases. Some of them died down, in this cycle. This cycle is definitely around Bitcoin because of ordinals, because of the ETF, because of many other things. I think the things I can share about, I think something I can talk about by building ecosystem in the last 7 months, right? So we launched our mainnet, V1 mainnet, which is proof of stake sidechain, which 100% EVM compatible, 3,000 TPS. We anchor as RPC, and a bunch of other kind of toolkits. That was the way we started. And then we've been building ecosystem by talking to hundreds of projects. And so far we have over 260 projects already deploying our chain. And I would say over 80 of them are very active. And within that, at least like I see 10 projects are very investable with very, very good potential. So for the people actually listening, I think that there's a few angles that definitely was talking and maybe share some ideas. One is kind of the default, very important, and also getting kind of competitive niche, which is DeFi. This cycle is the very important cycle to let Bitcoin holders tap into the DeFi use cases. So there's a lot of new builders. All the builders actually been building things on Ethereum entering the Bitcoin space. So we've been talking to a lot of them. And the things that can be very interesting to explore is go through this DeFi primitive landscape, right? And the first thing, which is very important and actually worth a lot of people's attention, is lending. Bitcoin lending has a very battle-tested, proven business model with kind of the lending and the borrowing kind of fee market. And obviously, there's a different way to make innovation out of that. And in our ecosystem, we have Avalon Finance with over 300 million TVR already. A lot of borrowers are lenders. And I think there's still room for interesting lending protocols to be built on top of Bitcoin and tap into the Bitcoin liquidity. So that's first thing. Second thing, which is also, I think there's a few builders in the BTC Startup Labs also working on that, which is stablecoins. Stablecoin, no matter it's RWA model or CDP model, like over collateralization or fiat-backed kind of model, stablecoin in Bitcoin ecosystem is very important. It's a building block, which is one of the key fundamentals. Obviously, we have all the US-backed, stablecoin like USDT, USDC. Bitlayer has been actively talking to all these two big companies for the native USDT and USDC minting, and we already have the bridge version. But I think there's still rooms for interesting stablecoin protocol to build. We saw recently Yala as one of the interesting stablecoin protocol announced their investment side led by Polychain, which we also led by Polychain as well. So it's interesting to see a stablecoin team joining the Polychain portfolio family. With that said, I think there's a few others, new ones like Bima and a few others actually pretty interesting. Bismiley also deploy us. So after stablecoin, after lending, the most competitive, but also most profitable business, I'm still actively looking for, very, very good builders, is DEXs. No matter it's AMM DEXs, Uniswap V2 or V3 model, or order book. Because at the end of the day, what Bitcoin L1 cannot do is a very good UX, very high performance trading experiences. People want to trade all kinds of assets, no matter it's BRC20, runes, or just Bitcoin by themselves, right? But not actually going through the centralized exchanges. So I think there's still going to be very exciting potential for all kinds of DEX builders to build things to engage all the DeFi traders, Bitcoin holders in a permissionless manner. So DEXs is still a very big market. Uniswap is not going to come out to Bitcoin with all kinds of reasons. They are actually building their own app chain on Ethereum called a Unichain. That's a big announcement, right? They made last week. So when people say, "Oh, what about Uniswap entering Bitcoin?" I don't think it's going to happen. So there's a room for very good DEXs to build on Bitcoin. After these three, which is a key building blocks, and there's a few other very important kind of derivative across like perpetual trading DEXs, option trading DEXs, and the real world assets. These are the three areas we see some interesting building and already deploying on Bitlayer. And I think it's a very, very exciting, high sophisticated level of financial products that require knowledge of financial designing, financial modeling, and risk management, smart contract risk management on those DeFi protocols. There's a lot of nuances, a lot of little details require builders to think about, and also you need actually some financial modeler or some people who actually are very DeFi savvy or a TradeFi savvy. So we see a few perp DEXs are doing interesting stuff. We're trying to find, native, Bitcoin traders and derivative traders who kind of like tied up all the centralized exchanges to tap into that additional yield, tap into all the Bitcoin volatility and to trade on the perp DEXs. Some of them have interesting approach to make it like liquidation, zero counterparty risks, so they cannot get liquidated, no matter how volatile the Bitcoin price is and so on. Obviously, those are very kind of deep in the water kind of DeFi protocols in Bitcoin, and that still needs to proven themselves. But I think there's an interesting market on that as well. Real world assets is actually a very new sector, right? It didn't really happen in 2021, that last cycle, but it's getting more and more momentum across all kinds of ecosystems. It's not just in Bitcoin, but also all the Ethereum, Solana, all the other proof of stake ecosystems as well. And real world assets is basically find a way to tokenize some kind of a real world assets across Bitcoin mining farms, some kind of social credits, and other ways like even T-bills, right? And to tokenize it, make it like collateral, and the collateral can tap into all kinds of DeFi protocols. And the on-chain version is still, building a bridge and actually figuring out how to tap into the yield on the DeFi side. Or the other way around, because of the interest rate, obviously now it's getting down, but previously on the bear market, right? The crypto holders want to tap into the risk-free kind of, real world yield on the, because of the interest rate, and it was pretty high and so on. So that was kind of other ways to design about it. We find it's very interesting, and there's some kind of earning products that people are designing, and tap into the both Web 2 and Web 3. That's a very important kind of sectors. There's a lot of niche products people can build, and it's actually pretty big potential because of all the TradeFi folks tapping into that. Yeah, so these are the 6 sectors I think are very exciting, and most likely will have their product market fit one way or the other. Obviously, people are talking about like NFT marketplace, like gaming, DeFi, many other things, which we find is pretty exciting, and we're happy to support all these use cases. But I think in Bitlayer, our strategic focus is on Bitcoin DeFi, and that's how the area we find it very exciting, and we have quite a lot of traders and users on that part. So for anybody who wants to build on that, we're happy to support with liquidity, with marketing support, with helping out the go-to-market strategy and things like that. Yeah, that's kind of a very TLDR version of my knowledge by building ecosystem in the last 6 months, talking to over hundreds of builders among all kinds of ecosystem, and kind of like some kind of consolidated kind of version of summary. What other things can be built on Bitcoin? Obviously, we don't want to narrow down your imagination or your ideas. Any ideas which you feel is interesting, we're open to talk. But I think at the end of the day, we need to find a product market fit, right? You need to find users actually use a protocol, not just for the hype, but actually for real usage. So yeah, I think DeFi is still the main focus right now, and obviously we're going to expand to other things in the future. Hey, Albert, you're on mute.